Hey guys, Clay Edwards here. I want to tell you real quick about RC Lawn Care. My buddy Richard Coley is going to be the guy you need to contact for all of your lawn maintenance needs. You can reach him at 601-502-3529. They offer roof to curb service, blowing off the roof, gutter cleaning, basic lawn care including mow, trim, edge, and blow, full lawn cleanup, trash removal, garden supplies delivered, pine straw installs, driveway and sidewalk pressure washing. If grass is growing, you need RC Lawn Care Mowing. Again, 601-502-3529. Richard Coley at RC Lawn Care, proud sponsor of the Clay Edwards Show podcast. All right, we are back live here on 103.9 FM WYAB. This is the Clay Edwards Show, and this segment is going to be brought to you by our friends out at Guns and Gear. A little Madison County influence on the show today. So how about we talk about one of our Madison County sponsors out there, Guns and Gear. They sponsor our text line. We do appreciate that. Hey, look, man, I've got my Facebook pulled up right now. I always tell you guys, you need to go follow them on Facebook to find out the deals of the day. Now, they're closed on Mondays, but you can save your patience and go see them tomorrow. You can shop them online in the meantime at gunsandgearms.com. But just some of their most recent deals of the day. They had a Ruger American Predator 308. It's matte blued. It's new, and it was $4.99. That sounds like a heck of a deal to me. How about this one? How about this Anderson AM-15? It looks like, I guess that's an AR-15. $5.99. You can get a nice AR-15 with some custom accessories for $5.99. That sounds like a good deal. You can find more of those online at gunsandgearms.com. And again, go follow them on Facebook, Guns and Gear, the home of no limit ammo. But hey, they're more than just a gun store. They got all your accessories. They take care of your Cerakoting and gunsmithing needs also. And just like me out at Ellis Autoplex buying cars, they'll buy your gun. Why go to a pawn shop when you can go to a gun shop? Go see them at Guns and Gear, located right there at 51 North in Gluckstadt, right next to the all-new Booze Smokehouse Barbecue. I never miss the opportunity to mention good barbecue. Never. Now, you can go get good barbecue and a gun out there. What the hell goes better together than guns and barbecue? I can't think of anything. So check them out, gunsandgearms.com. All right, in the studio, he's running for constable with District 3.
Yes, sir.
It's Taco Johnson. Do you have a real name, or is it just Taco?
Well, it's Richard Taco Johnson, but a lot of people know me as Taco. Jobs that I've had in the past, they have to do a background check on you. And so when they would go to my hometown, they'd say, I'd come back and report to my office, and on the office placard, it'd say Richard Taco Johnson on the door. And I'd be like, I can't ever get rid of this nickname. And they're like, well, we went to your hometown, talked to your childhood friends, and we were asking about Richard Johnson. And they're like, oh, you mean Taco? And they said, we realized real quick that not many people know Richard Johnson, but everybody knows Taco.
Well, I grew up with a Taco also. His name's Shane.
Okay.
But everybody calls him Taco. So it's kind of funny to meet another Taco further along in life. So, speaking of your hometown, where is that?
It's Canton. The first part of my life, up until about 13, I lived in the city of Madison, and then we moved to Canton.
Yeah, I was a Hines Cantonian for a long time, Jackson, and moved out to Rankin County about 2 years ago. So I get it. You got to move around a little bit. Where you stay at now?
I stay at Lake Caroline.
Lake Caroline. Well, they got some stuff going on out there. We will avoid that landmine for you today. So, look, you're running for constable. Tell folks about yourself.
Well, I'm a 25-year full-time law enforcement career. I knew at an early age that I wanted to get in law enforcement. So when I graduated from high school, I went to Delta State University, got a Bachelor of Science in Criminal Justice degree, and I have been in law enforcement since then. Started off at the Madison County Sheriff's Department. I served there for about 9 years. I've also been a conservation officer with the Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks, and I'm currently a senior investigator with the Mississippi Attorney General's office, where I've been for the last 14 years.
Good folks over there, man. Good folks. So what made you run for constable? What do you think you bring to the table there that why people should vote for you?
Well, I've thought about it in the past, but I never wanted to run against a fellow incumbent, a fellow law enforcement officer, rather. And when Will Weisenberger, the constable of District 3, decided to retire in the middle of a term, I really started thinking, and I said, "This is the time for me to run." And I've got 25 years in. I've done a little bit of everything in my career, and with the seat coming available, I checked with my work and got all my ducks in a row to make sure that I would be allowed to run for constable, and so I signed up. I've dedicated my whole life to law enforcement, and I have, like I said, I've worked violations from traffic to game and fish to bank robberies, narcotics, kidnappings, and violent crimes against children. And that's actually what I specialize in now. I've rescued children all over the world, from right here in Madison County and as far away as the Philippines. But I'm kind of on the back end of my career. I'd like to work another 12 years or so. But I want to focus my efforts to Madison County, the county that I grew up in and raised my children in, and the county that I'm going to retire in. So if I can come back and join forces with law enforcement here, bring my expertise and experience back here and work with them, I think it's where I'm better suited, and I will serve Madison County well.
Well, it brings your career full circle too, right?
Yes, sir.
Kind of back to Madison County. Folks, Chip Matthews talks about this a lot. He's always running for something out there in Canton. Folks need to run where they live. Run for something. And you need folks who are local, who grew up, who know the area, who know the people. More importantly, I guess that's what I mean by know the area. You know the people. You know the minutia of everything. Who runs with who, all that type of stuff. You need local folks running for these local positions. Especially folks that are born and raised in these areas, and that's important to me. And I'm not saying folks that moved from here can't eventually run for something over here, but it just means more. Like me, for instance, grew up, born and raised in Jackson. I ain't winning nothing in Jackson. It ain't happening. The demographics just don't set out like that no more. I can't go run. I can't go run against somebody in Rankin County for something just because I want to do something. It wouldn't be fair. But I like it that somebody from Madison County wants to do something for Madison County. I mean, you've got the support of the sheriff sitting here.
Yes,
so I think that says all we need to know.
I have had the opportunity to work. Of course, he was elected sheriff after I left, but we were at the sheriff's department at the same time. He was a captain at the sheriff's department when I was working there, so he knows my work ethic. I'm not a politician. I'm a career law enforcement officer, so it's hard for me to toot my own horn because I got in this profession to make a difference. I got in this profession to serve and protect. I didn't get in this profession to get a pat on the back. And so, but now that I'm running for a position, I have to let people know some of the things that I've done. And every job I've ever had, I have excelled in it. When I was at the sheriff's department, I got Metro Cop of the Year, 2007. I got the Mothers Against Drunk Driving Officer of the Year Award, 2007. Game and Fish, I was selected as the Conservation Officer of the Year for my district and put up for the statewide. That was the first year that I was employed with them. With the job I'm in now, I've gotten the Victims Assistance Award that was handed to me from the Department of Justice for rescuing victims. And so I've done great things in every job I've ever had, and I will continue to do the same thing as constable. If people elect me, they're going to hear positive and good things about me.
Yeah. Do you have a website or anything set up, a Facebook page people can go to and it's got more information about you?
Yes, I do. It's Richard. I have a Facebook page. It's elect Richard Johnson Constable.
Elect Richard Johnson Constable. All right, look, Sheriff, what made you decide to get behind Taco here? It sounds like you just said it all, but but you've been adamantly supporting Taco here in his run for constable. What makes you so comfortable with that?
Listening to his credentials, mate, I kind of feel inferior. But no, I've known I've known Taco. I've known Richard. I call him Taco. He's a long-time friend of mine since we were little. I watched him through high school, through his young adult life, and into his professional career at the sheriff's department. He's right. He's not a self-bragging type person. He's one of those calmly goes about his job type guys, and he excels at it. He's been a leader. He's very calm, very rational, makes good decisions. So it was easy for me when he came to me and told me he wanted to run, and I'll be honest with you, I encouraged him. I thought it was a great idea. We need people like Richard and or Taco to run for office. It's tough to get people to run for office. You know, they don't want to be out here and be subjected to the political badgering and all the baloney that goes along with it. And he told you he's not a politician, and I tell you the same thing about me. But knowing his character, knowing the family that he comes from, you know, I knew them well, knew his mother and father. They're just good people. He just checks all the boxes for me, and he's moved steadily up in his career. So I'm not the only one with that viewpoint. I think anybody that he's worked for has seen that progression in him and promoted him based on that. So it was an easy choice for me. Plus, he's one of my best friends. So I'm going to support him, stand behind him, and push him as hard as I can, and we're going to get it done.
I like it. Just to be 100% clear, is Taco on the ballot? We keep saying Taco. I want to make sure that they'll see that on the ballot, right?
It is. It's Richard Taco Johnson and on the ballot, and I have to give the sheriff credit for that, because when I was talking to him and telling him concerns and thoughts that I had about running, and he looked at me and he said, I got to give you some advice. And I said, I'm sitting here waiting. I was like, what? He said, you got to put Taco on the ballot, Richard Taco Johnson. So I did. And
it's on the signs. It's got to be on the ballot.
Yeah.
I mean, it helps stand you apart. You know, Taco's easy to remember. I'm terrible with names. I love tacos. like most people.
We plan on making August 8 Taco Tuesday.
I was just supposed to say, boy, y'all are leaving a good one on the table if you don't. I was going to say the elections are on Tuesdays. Oh yeah, that's a money shot right there. All right, look, let's take a break. Come back here. We're gonna have more with Madison County Constable Candidate Taco Johnson, and we got Madison County Sheriff Randy Tucker here in the studio. The Guns and Gear text line. If you got any questions for the guys, let me know. 769-241-1944. We'll be right back on 103.9 FM WYAB. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. We're live here on 103.9 FM WYAB. I've got here in the studio with me, I've got Madison County Sheriff Randy Tucker and Madison County Constable Candidate Richard Taco Johnson sitting here with me. And guys, we got a text from you got some support from a good buddy of mine here. He gave me permission to read this on the air. Brad Sullivan's a big fan. You know, he just says, man, to the sheriff, the man you're talking to is the best candidate run. Well, I'm sorry about you. He said the man you're talking to is the best candidate running. I know him personally, and I know for sure he will actually work his district and do what he is supposed to do. And he also said that he would much rather have a guy that's a certified police officer and wants to help people and loves law enforcement. You know, talking about yourself. And, of course, he rave reviews on the sheriff as well. He said the sheriff's department has stood by him throughout his whole incident since day one. So an endorsement by Brad is enough for me. And the sheriff, obviously. But Brad's a buddy of mine, man. I've seen what he's been through and done some business with him here on some stuff here lately and had a chance to spend some time with him. And, boy, I tell you what that guy's gone through has been nothing short of a miracle. But, all right, Taco. Oh, what else you want to hit here? Tell me this. I'm a little ignorant. What exactly, other than serve warrants, what all does a constable do?
Well, Madison County is divided into 4 judicial districts, so there's 4 justice court judges, and for each judicial district, there's a judge and a constable. So the way Madison County does it, the judges rotate court weekly. District 1 has it week 1, District 2 week 2, District 3 week 3. So week 3, the constable will be in court with the District 3 judge, handing down the judgments and serving all criminal and civil papers. He acts as the bailiff in court. But in addition to that, he has full law enforcement authority. Can make traffic stops, make arrests, kind of like same powers of a deputy sheriff.
Interesting. So it definitely does have you definitely do want a former law enforcement, or not former, but law enforcement in that position. It would just make most sense if you're going to sit out there and have the ability to be a cop. You should have gone through the same training that an officer has gone through.
Yes, sir. I have, like I said, throughout the 25-year career, I have been patrolled the streets of Madison County for 9 years. I answered calls, domestics, worked traffic, and that's the same thing I'll be doing as a deputy sheriff. You run all of your cases through. They start off in justice court, and all misdemeanors go through justice court, and so I'm familiar with the Madison County justice court system, and it's like home to me.
But it is home to you.
Yes, sir.
Well, Madison County.
It is.
Well, I mean, it helps to know folks out there. I mean, I just think that the more people, you just want it to flow better. And the more people who know each other, it's not this awkward deal. You obviously have an open line of communication with the sheriff. I mean, it's only going to make things work better, in my opinion.
That's correct. And, what I bring to the table is I've got a wealth of knowledge in law enforcement in all aspects of it. And how great would it be to have a constable that can not only serve the papers in a timely manner, act as the bailiff, but in addition to that, I rescued 20 children, approximately 20 children last year, victims of child predators. I educated over 1,600 parents, children, and teachers on internet safety. I want to continue to do that. And in addition to my constable duties, I can continue to be present in the schools in uniform and tell the children about internet safety, and I can continue to work some of these cases in conjunction with the sheriff's department.
I'm glad you brought this internet safety thing up with kids. My daughters are a little grown now, and in their 20s anyway. They'll never be grown, but I was at a party the other night, and something got brought up again about this like sexploitation blackmail stuff that's going on. Unfortunately, a kid committed suicide up in Starkville this year on it here recently, and I think there were 2 kids at this party I was at, or their parents were there, something or another. But the same thing had happened to them. Now it didn't end as tragically, but what our kids are going through. And I know there's a big hubbub about this age verification thing on the internet and Pornhub and these sites closing Mississippi out. Well, good riddance, But this sexploitation, I call it sexploitation stuff, sex trafficking, all of this stuff. This is real, and this is going on right here in our hometowns.
It is. It's sextortion, yeah. And yes, I'm familiar with the case that you're referring to, and I have. And when I say I've rescued approximately 20 children this past year, that is ones that were being victimized. That's not counting all of the other cases that we, as in a task force I'm on, the other investigators, attorney general, everybody, we have a lot of these sextortion cases that come in, and they haven't been victimized yet, or they're trying to victimize them, trying to get them, but these children have been educated and they know what to do, and that's get in touch with us and tell their parents, tell their school or whoever, and so I'm not even counting the cases that we have worked where we prevented the child from being victimized.
I mean, look, I know a personal story of a friend of mine whose daughter was in there on the internet, and 14, 15 years old, and maybe sent a picture she probably didn't need to send or whatever. And now the guy's like, "Now you're going to send me some money or I'm going to tell your parents," and she ran in there crying. She snitched on herself, because she was so worried or whatever. But, man, this is real. This isn't a boogeyman. This is real. It's happening out there. So to know that you're going to still participate. You don't want to take. I'm in the car sales business. You hate to pull your best salesman off the floor and make him a manager. You don't want to pull your best cop off the field to make him a boss or a constable and lose what he brings to the table every day. So the fact that you're still going to be boots on ground working on that, I think, really, really says a lot.
Yes, sir. It's important to me. Like I said, I grew up here, raised my family here, and I'm going to retire here. So the safety of this community is top priority. And what better sheriff's department could I ask to be able to work with?
Well, thank you.
Well, look, let's take a break, and we'll come back. We'll have we got Taco Johnson and Randy Tucker here in the studio with us till the top of the hour. This is the Clay Edwards Show on 103.9 FM WYAB. All right, welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show here on 103.9 FM WYAB. I'm joined here in the studio by, he's running for Constable, District 3 in Madison County. It's Richard Taco Johnson, and we've got the Madison County Sheriff, Randy Tucker, here in the studio with us as well. And off air, I was asking Taco, I said, man, being in law enforcement as long as you have, do you have any stories that really stick out, any cases that you were a part of that really stuck out? And you said there was one you would tell us about, so I'm just going to kind of pass it over to you.
Well, first I'd like to start off with, in this profession, we're subject to get called out at any time. And this is not the particular case I was thinking of. I just want to share this with
That's
you.
That's
fine. I got called out.
When you say called out, you mean to a
kidnapping,
to a scene, okay.
Like a kidnapping or a child in imminent danger. As soon as if we get word that that's happening, then we have to go. Well, and I'm a single dad. I've got 2 daughters. Both of them live with me, and so when they were younger, before they could stay by themselves, of course, I've got great family. My mom was actually in Memphis, and I had to call her at 2:00 one morning, and she drove back because I said, look, we've got a potential kidnapping. I'm going to have to I'm starting to do things that I can from the house here, but I'm going to have to eventually leave the house. She drove back to be with my children while I got called out. But anyway, one Father's Day, my children were old enough to be by themselves, and they were cooking dinner and going to have a good Father's Day for me, and I got that phone call that I had to go. Well, I looked at I'm sitting down about ready to eat, and I looked at the girls and I said, girls, I've got to go. And I said, I'm so sorry, but can we do this? And they're like, Dad, don't worry about it. Look, if we were missing, we would want you looking for us. That family needs you. And so when I came back, they had gotten me a little plaque, not a plaque, but a little picture frame that said, we will always be your daughter and you will always be our hero. And that Father's Day, I have never forgotten, just because they were so good. They understood. And that's what families have to deal with career law enforcement officers. But anyway, the case that I was referencing, I had a guy that was a career military. He made his career in the military. He served most of his time in the Philippines, and I was able to see that he was sharing and trading child sexual abuse material. And I got a search warrant. We executed a search warrant on his residence, and we did a preview of computers, and we're able to see that a child in the residence was being victimized. And anyway, I ended up rescuing about 5 different children, and that individual got 160 years in prison.
He wasn't just trading; he was producing.
He was a producer, but we used that tool to get in the residence, and a lot of times without sharing too much information, there's certain things that we can look at and make a determination if the probability of them producing is higher or lower. Let's see if they're just a share or trader, or if they have the potential to produce.
Yeah, they're an uploader or
Yes.
stuff like that nature. Oh man, that's something else. 100 how many years?
160 years.
And that was here in Mississippi, obviously.
Yes, sir.
You know, as these cases pop up here and there on the news, and you see the people who commit these heinous crimes, they look just like us. I mean, it's not like what a movie would portray somebody. You know, they all don't have tattoos on their faces and, you know, look like quote unquote criminals. It's the guy next door. It's the guy that sits next to you in church. You literally never know with these cases. You have to eliminate any stereotypes you might have, and, you know, follow the evidence and stuff.
That's
like
exactly right. There is not a profile for this person. In my experience of working these cases for the last 14 years, I have been in a $5,000 house doing a search warrant in the morning, and then that afternoon in a $5 million house doing a search warrant that afternoon. I've arrested from doctors to police officers, all people from all walks of life. I mean, you just, like you said, you follow the evidence. And
one that comes to mind, this is a national thing, not local, but just talk about, you just never know. Look at the BTK killer there in Kansas. That guy was a deacon in his church.
Right.
You know, did not look like what I visioned a serial killer looking like. I mean, I don't know what I visioned one looking like, but it wasn't him. You know, you just never know where evil, what's inside men. And you, like I say, you got to follow the evidence. I think what you guys do is phenomenal. I got some buddies of mine that they go and do it's basically missionary work where they'll go into these sex traffic hotspots, and they'll try to kind of rescue these girls or kids or whatever from these sex rings and all that stuff. A little bit different than that, but I highly commend it, man. You know, we need people out there that want to do this. And Sheriff and I were talking during the first hour. I think you were sitting over there towards the end. I said, you know, law enforcement, what you guys go through, what you see, the evidence you have to see, unfortunately, to go out and get these people. I mean, it's got to cause a PTSD of sort, or can anyway. And it's so hard. You talk about your families. Families, I think, in law enforcement don't get the credit they deserve, just like the law enforcement doesn't. But there's no way you don't bring that home. It's just in the back of your mind, the things you see on a day-to-day basis. It's got to be hard to flip a switch when you walk in the door and say, hey, honey, I'm home. Been a great day at the office.
Right.
Yeah. I tell you, my wife's been wanting to go see, was it Sound of Freedom?
It looks great.
And, you know, I'm not sure I want to, because we live that every day. And that's, you know, supposed to be a heck of a movie, and I know my wife wants to see it. I just don't really know how I feel about it.
One of the YouTube guys I follow a lot was talking about that very thing. He's like, man, if you want to support it, buy a ticket. He's like, I bought plenty of tickets just to support it. He's like, but I don't want to see it. I don't want to see a movie about sex trafficking. I know it's happening.
It's happening.
You know, I know what's going on. He's like, I don't need to see the movie to confirm that, but I support them making it, and I can't believe they were able to get that movie released, to be honest. But yeah, people need to educate themselves on what's going on out here. And, you know, you got a guy running for constable here that is going to continue to do the great work he's doing and do it as constable.
That's right.
That's Taco Johnson. It's going to be Taco Tuesday.
August 8th.
August 8th, Taco Tuesday, District 3 in Madison County. I like that. I tell you, I'm a marketing guy too. I love promotion and marketing, and I've been enjoyed watching these campaigns over the last few years since I've gotten plugged in. And this has been one of the more entertaining ones to see. You know, intelligent marketing. People, it's all in the name. You know, you got it. You might as well use it, right?
That's right. You know, I got some good advice to use the nickname too, and I did.
Hey, look, Richard Johnson's a good name too. I got some fun with that one. You know, so you got blessed with several good nicknames, or real names and nicknames.
Right. But when you talk about taking it home, the work, that's one thing that I'm actually good at not bringing it home, because I have, like I said, I've got 2 daughters, and every cases that I have worked, my children at some point in time have been in those age ranges of these children that I rescued, and I never substitute my child in for that child. I never, what if that was my daughter?
It's a cognizant effort, though.
Yes, it is.
You have to work on it. You can't it's sometimes hard to do it, but you have to do it for the good of your personal life.
That's right.
It's got to be. And I know that the divorce rate in law enforcement is, 50% or something really high like that. And it's because, it's got to be so hard to compartmentalize and not bring that stuff home. And I tell people all the time, like, you have these interactions with law enforcement, and sometimes you don't feel like they were nice enough to you. Man, you don't know what they have been through today.
Right.
Let them do their dang job and go on about your business.
And an example, when I was on evening shift at the sheriff's department, you get off at 11 o'clock. Okay, that's when you go 10-7. Well, what if you were just in a car chase or an intense domestic that you just answered, and you come home? You can't pull the uniform off and be asleep by 11:05.
Adrenaline does what it does.
Yeah. I would sit there and decompress in my recliner, watch TV, and there were sometimes it'd be 1 o'clock or even later before I could wind down enough to be able to go to sleep. But a lot of people that families that don't know, that don't have anybody in law enforcement, don't know what law enforcement officers go through. Now, I did sign up for it, and I'm not complaining because that's what I chose, and I wouldn't trade anything for the world for that.
I think that's a good point. You've done it. You've stuck with. You've been 25 years now.
Yes, sir.
So you're at the point you could step away.
I could, but I've got 2 children that that need some insurance.
How old are the kids?
My oldest one is 20, and she's in college, and then my youngest is going to be a senior at Germantown High School.
Cool. So again, you're going to be serving where you live, and I know technically everybody serves where they live the way the election laws work. Well, they're supposed to anyway.
Right.
And, there's some questions about some people around here, but you ain't one of them.
But my family, I've got deep roots here. My family has been here for over 120 years, and I'm not going anywhere. So that's one reason I stepped up to run for this position, to keep this community as safe as I can.
This is what I like about a law enforcement. Is somebody that's a law enforcement here in the state, in the community, living in the community. You're stepping up. You're going to run. Win or lose, you're still going to be here working every day after the election.
Correct.
So many times you see these guys, they kind of come out of nowhere, they run for these positions, they don't win, and you never see these people again.
Right.
They're not at the community functions anymore. They're not at the Mama Hamill's lunch or the Rankin County breakfast, and they work the circuit, and then they go away, and you never see them again. It's like, well, did you really care, or were you just trying to get a job? And I don't get that vibe from you at all.
Right.
You're going to be in the community, win, lose, or draw. So.
I am. And also I want to clarify, there's been maybe some confusion as to whenever I say that I'm going to continue to work child exploitation and educate, some people may believe that I will be a part-time constable. I will have to resign from my position with, as a senior investigator from the Mississippi Attorney General's office. And I will be a full-time constable, but the difference is, like I said earlier, not only will I be able to fulfill constable duties, but I bring something extra to the table. I will be able to continue to be in the community and protect our children and work hand in hand with the sheriff's department on, and we will educate the children, parents, and teachers on internet safety.
Well, I'm a huge fan of I refer to it like officer-friendly programs, school resource officers, stuff of that nature, police and law enforcement being in the schools, getting to these kids at a young age, especially for these kids from, we'll say, lower-income areas who may be raised with a different viewpoint on law enforcement, because they don't get to know law enforcement personally. They don't get to know somebody by name. I remember growing up in South Jackson and Byram and that area. There was a cop that was so hard on me. And he's passed away now, but I'm so grateful that he was hard on me. And that was Brian McCurley with the
Brown, good guy.
Yeah. And had he not been as hard on me, and you got one out there, I promise I won't ever say his name on the radio until he retires. But so I'll tell you off here, you got another one that was really hard on me that works for you now. And if it wasn't for those guys, I'm telling you, I told you earlier, if it wasn't for the corporal punishment my parents put me through, if I wasn't dead, I'd be a felon at minimum. Because I was determined. That's where you need good law enforcement, people who ain't scared to wrap their arms around a kid. You give them that tough love they may not even be getting at home. you know, and
Right.
you talk about being in the schools. It made me think about that, and that's just dang important to me. And I like to see that somebody's willing to do that, and you say you're going to do it, people are going to hold you to it. So,
I'm going to do it. It's important. I've dedicated the last 14 years of my life to that. 25 years law enforcement, 14 to specifically protecting children.
Yeah, the resume speaks for itself. Let's take a break, come back, and we'll land the plane for the day with Taco Johnson and Sheriff Randy Tucker. We'll be right back on the Clay Edwards Show. All right, welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show here on 103.9 FM WYAB. Here in the studio with me, I've got Madison County Sheriff Randy Tucker, and I've got Constable Candidate out there at District 3 in Madison, Richard Taco Johnson. He's going to be on the ballot August, what is it?
August 8th.
August 8th. Tuesday, August 8th, Taco Tuesday. I love that, man. Taco and Sheriff, I appreciate y'all coming in this morning. I've had a great time talking. I wish we could tell the off-air stories on air, but that's the privilege of doing this, I guess. But good stuff there, man. We'll have to come over and have a beer one night and hear all the 20-plus years of law enforcement war stories. And man, that's good. So I hope you write a book one day when you get done with all this. But I guess just in closing here, man, we got about 4 minutes left. Taco, let's recap a little bit. People in and out of their cars a good bit. Remind everybody who you are, what you're running for, and all that fun stuff.
Richard Taco Johnson. I'm a candidate in the August 8th Republican primary, running for Madison County Constable, and career law enforcement officer, born and raised here. I've served at the Madison County Sheriff's Department, conservation officer, and currently a senior investigator with the Mississippi Attorney General's office. Been there the last 14 years, and I just want to running for constable and want to come back and focus the last probably 12 years or so of my life on protecting and serving Madison County and keeping this community as safe as I can.
Yeah, so you said District 3, so clearly you live in District 3. That'd be the Lake Caroline area.
Yes, sir.
All that stuff.
It runs from the corner of the district is Highway 22 and Catlett Road, which is basically the corner of Lake Caroline. And it runs down Catlett Road and has everything west of Catlett Road. And when you go down Striblin Road Extension all the way to the interstate, it's got everything south of Striblin Road Extension, runs all the way down to Cypress Lake, and then it goes west. It has Lake Lorman, Lake Cavalier, Flora, west of Flora, Reunion, Annandale, Whisper Lake, Johnstone, Devlin Springs, Hartfield, Ashbrook. It's very populated with residential
It is
area.
A lot of good folks live in that area.
Yes, sir.
A lot of good folks. And like I said, you've got the full support of the sheriff here. He even decided to stay here and do the show with us. This is a first for me. Got a candidate and the sheriff at the same time, so that says a lot. It says a lot. I've got some close friends who I know are supporting you out there in Madison County, and I trust what they say. And I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you this morning.
Yes, sir.
The opportunity to get to know you, and I think Madison County will be in great hands with Taco Johnson as constable in District 3.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And I just want to try to remind everybody to help me make August 8th Taco Tuesday. I have to,
you got to get that in there.
I got to get it in there. The sheriff beat me to it this morning.
He did. Look, it was on the tip of my tongue too. I was over here saying, all elections are on Tuesdays. What I was running through my head here. Only having maybe 2 or 4 years, depending on what it is. Anyway, I was like Taco Tuesday, and the sheriff beat me to it.
And thank you, Clay, for your support of law enforcement, and not just that, but real talk radio. I mean, putting the facts out there, good, bad, ugly. We appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate what y'all do, and I thought that it was something that I felt was kind of missing in the market. And I mean, there's some guys here who do great stuff at what they do, but this is something I wanted to do is mock and meme criminals and stupid people, and that's what we do a lot on this show. And I think law enforcement appreciate that because y'all see it on the front lines every day. And I don't think you get the credit you deserve. Look, I've had bad run-ins with cops, but I was an a-hole. When I quit being an a-hole to cops, guess what? When I quit doing dumb stuff, cops quit doing stuff to me. Guys, I appreciate y'all. Looking forward to it. Taco Tuesday, August 8th. I will see y'all tomorrow here on the Clay Edwards Show. I hope you enjoyed this clip of today's Clay Edwards Show. You can tune in live every Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. on 103.9 FM, WYAB in Central Mississippi. You can stream it worldwide and live at WYAB.com, the TuneIn app, or Alexa. Just search WYAB. And of course, you're listening now on a podcast, so you can just hit subscribe where you're at. We update daily right here on the Clay Edwards Show, and check out all things Clay Edwards at ClayEdwardsShow.com for shirts and more. Peace.